In Massachusetts, it is illegal for public sector employees, including teachers, to strike. This prohibition is deeply rooted in the state's history, tracing back to the aftermath of the 1919 Boston police strike. Then Governor Calvin Coolidge took a hardline stance against the striking police officers, resulting in their permanent dismissal and establishing a strong anti-union sentiment across the state. This event significantly impacted public sector unionism, leading to widespread bans on public sector unions and strikes in Massachusetts and other local governments. The legal framework governing this area is Section 9A of Chapter 150E of the General Laws of Massachusetts. This section explicitly prohibits public employees and their organizations from engaging in strikes. It defines various activities that may be considered as evidence of a strike or support for one, such as a high rate of absenteeism, union officers failing to report to work, or union officials' remarks indicating a strike vote. Despite this prohibition, there have been instances where public sector employees in Massachusetts have chosen to strike, often as a last resort to address unjust working conditions or stalled negotiations. For example, in 1977, Franklin teachers went on strike over concerns related to pay, seniority, maternity leave, and student behavior. Similarly, Dedham teachers conducted an illegal strike in 2019 over issues like health insurance costs and sexual harassment policies. These strikes often arise from a sense of desperation and the need to effectuate significant changes in working conditions. They highlight the tough choice faced by public employees: either continue working under unfair or unsafe conditions or risk penalties, including fines and imprisonment, by striking. This situation underscores the ongoing debate about the need to balance the prohibition of strikes in essential public services with the rights of employees to address grievances through collective action. This situation underscores the ongoing debate about the need to balance the prohibition of strikes in essential public services with the rights of employees to address grievances through collective action. While teacher strikes in Massachusetts, including the recent Newton teachers' strike, are illegal under current law, they often occur in contexts where educators feel that their concerns are not being adequately addressed through other means. Over the past 5 years, there have been several notable teacher strikes in Massachusetts, each with its own set of consequences. The Dedham strike in April 2019 was the first teachers' strike in Massachusetts since 2007. The educators in Dedham voted to strike on a Thursday, were out for one day, and had a tentative agreement by Monday to return to work. The union faced minimal fines for this action. The Haverhill and Malden strikes in October 2022 saw teachers in both school districts go on strike following unsuccessful contract negotiations. The Malden union reached a tentative agreement after one day of striking. In Haverhill, a temporary restraining order was issued by a court mandating teachers to return to work. The union in Haverhill remained defiant, choosing to prioritize what they deemed as moral over what is legal. The penalties for these strikes typically include monetary fines against the union rather than individual educators. While no teachers lost their jobs in these strikes, the unions often faced financial penalties. These fines are typically borne by the union as a whole, funded through members' dues. In addition to financial penalties, these strikes often lead to significant disruptions in the school districts, affecting students, parents, and the broader community. Schools are typically closed during these strikes, leading to lost instructional days, which often need to be made up later in the school year. It's important to note that while these strikes are illegal in Massachusetts, the state's teachers and unions have sometimes chosen this route as a last resort to advocate for better pay, working conditions, and other critical issues. The Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court has ruled that even using the word strike constitutes inducing, encouraging, or condoning a work stoppage by public employees, putting union leaders at risk of fines and potentially jail time. Despite these risks, teachers have continued to strike when they feel it's necessary to achieve their objectives. The Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court has ruled that even using the word strike constitutes inducing, encouraging, or condoning a work stoppage by public employees, putting union leaders at risk of fines and potentially jail time. Despite these risks, teachers have continued to strike when they feel it's necessary to achieve their objectives. Public opinion on teacher strikes in Massachusetts appears to be divided. A survey by the Mass INC polling group revealed that about 45% of voters supported making teacher strikes legal, while 40% believed they should remain illegal. When the potential negative impacts on students' learning were highlighted, support for legalizing strikes slightly decreased, and the share of respondents favoring the strike ban increased. Parents' responses to teacher strikes can vary widely based on individual circumstances and viewpoints. In general, while some parents may support the teachers' demands for better pay, improved working conditions, and other issues, they might also be concerned about the impact of strikes on their children's education and their own day-to-day routines. Parents may face challenges in arranging childcare or taking time off work when schools are closed due to strikes. The balance between empathizing with teachers' concerns and managing the practical implications of a strike can lead to a range of responses among parents.